Carrie, now 8:13, and I'm joined on set by Helen Jones Kelly, who is the Executive Director of Montgomery County Alcohol Drug Addiction Services. Thank you so much for being with us, Ms. Jones.
It's my
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. On such a lousy morning.
Compared to yesterday.
Yeah, you want to go back to yesterday's weather,
I do.
don't you? But we have maybe a storm brewing on the horizon as you're concerned with gambling. We have Ohio's fourth casino has opened now, ironically, during National Problem Gambling Awareness Week. 6 racetracks open in Ohio. So do experts expect increase in people with gambling problems because of this? So what's your thoughts on this?
Well, there's the potential for that, certainly. With the opening of the other casinos, racinos, and some of the other venues around the state, we've seen an increase in problem gambling, certainly.
So let's look at the signs. I mean, how do you know if you have a gambling problem?
Well, it's relatively easy to detect because of the change in behavior. A lot of people see this purely as a recreational activity, and that's great. It's a source of revenue, it's fun to do, but you know a person has a problem if they begin to change their social behavior, if they start shifting money around to cover gambling losses, if all of a sudden they become depressed and begin to be more isolated in their activity. There are a variety of ways in which you can see the changes in behavior.
All right, so what do you do if maybe you've noticed a couple of those changes in bank accounts and moods and whatever comes with it? What do you do?
Well, if you have a sense that you may have a problem, or if someone who cares about you has a sense that you have a problem, they can call the gambling hotline. There is a hotline available in the state of Ohio, 1-800-589-9966. Or they can call the local Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board, and we can help refer them to services throughout the community.
So are there any, it might be too late now, maybe the ship's already sailed, but are there any efforts that maybe you're heading up or your organization about maybe stopping the racino coming or future racinos coming, or any thoughts on that?
Actually, no. We understand that we need a variety of revenue generators within the community. We understand that, and as long as people have a recreational attitude about these kinds of venues, it's a fine source of fun. But it's when people begin to depend upon that or begin to hide their behavior about going more readily, tending to get away from some of the other things they typically do, and wanting to just go to the casino and then cover the losses over time, losing family, losing connections, then there's a problem.
So now you see a lot of these gambling sites online. Talk about being able to go undercover. I mean, that would be very difficult to detect. Any thoughts on that as far as what we can do to kind of, do you monitor people's behavior online? I mean, do you go to that extent?
We don't. It's a self-regulation. People have to monitor their own behavior, but we know that some states are even moving towards having their lottery sales available online. So that's something to keep an eye on, because if people can be isolated, then we won't have a chance to really see if there are changes in behavior and that there may be some addiction issues.
Do we have any numbers about how big this is in Ohio?
We don't have a real strong sense of it because a lot of people hide it so well. You know, it's only when you begin to see them losing their homes, losing employment, losing connection to family that you begin to suspect, and then a lot of people still avoid going in for any kind of treatment. There are treatment programs available for people who have addictions, and we encourage them to seek them out.
Well, again, let's repeat that Ohio State Gambling Hotline, 1-800-589-9966. If you have a friend or a loved one that may be getting a bit too far in, at least you folks are there to help take care, or at least try to help, So thank you for sharing that good information. I appreciate it. All right, time now 8:17, and two best friends helping one another.